This weekend on Tapatahi, we share the week's highlights from the program that brings you everything you need to know about COVID-19 and life in lockdown. We look back at what's been achieved, what more needs to happen, and some lighter moments along the way. Tapatahi, 10:30 a.m, Māori television and online. You can also find us on our Facebook page and at maoritelevision.com. Kāti, e rere tonu ana ngā mihi aroha, ki te raukura o te maungati tōhea kia Huirangi Waikerepuru. Taranaki's revered Dr. Huirangi Waikerepuru was buried yesterday in adherence with strict COVID-19 tangihanga protocols. He's remembered as a driving force behind the revitalisation of te reo and the establishment of Māori television, iwi radio and te māngai pāho. Dr. Waikerepuru was 91. Now, normally his passing would have drawn thousands from around the motu. Our reporter, Kereama Wright, and camera operator, Herewini Waikato, have this special report.
Ngaro te kai, ngaro te tangata ki te pō, iri te rau kawakawa, iri ki whare ai tua.
E tino pauri ana. Nā te mea koe e te taueke mutunga, te tohunga mutunga, kei roto i a Ngāti Ruanu.
No te whākaraka i na nahi nei te tūpāpaku o tākuta te Huirangi Waikerepuru ka tau huna atu ki tōna marae o tai porohenui me tōna mirumiru. I kawea tōna tūpāpaku ki te mahau o te whare, ka rere ngā karakia, ngā poimanu me ngā kupu mai oha, pau ana te toru te kau meneti ka haria ia ki te urupā o te waiti, ka ore noa i taro, ko tāpu ke tonu atu.
Waua rawa. Kōrero mātau te whānau mō ngā wakaritenga. E whiti anō rā nā te ware oki mātau i awe. Kia tai pai mai tō mātau pāpā ki kone.
E ai ki ngā tikanga tangihanga te manatū hauora, me tanu me tahura nei te tūpāpaku ki te rohe i mate ai ia. Ka ore whakaetia kia haria mai tētahi rohe ki tētahi, ka ore hoki e pai kia tangihia ki runga i te marae. Me te māharahara nui o tōna iwi, kei nehua wawehia tō rātau tohunga ki roto o Manawatū.
E koera te tihi o ngā wangawanga engari ka tonu atu ki te Ministry of Health, tonu atu ki ngā pirihimana, ki ngā undertakers, me pēhea, ana ka ki mai rātau, ko tēnei te huarahi mō koutou.
Ahakoa te mamae me te pōuri, e kupu whakapāha a te whānau ki te motu whānui.
O i tēnei wā kai te whakarite ruakere i tētihi wāhi wāhanga kia kōrero mai te motu. Nō rere mihi kau atu wana ki te motu aroha mai. Aroha mai ka are koutou i pai wā ki te kōrero tika ki tō mātau pāpā. Aroha mai. Hoi anō rā. E wā anō pēr, e tai ai, e koutou te poroporo ake ki aia. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou, me tō tātou aitua. Kia ora.
Dr. Waikerepuru was also known as an eloquent educator and mentor to many people. Among them is Taranaki Reo exponent and Waitangi Tribunal member Dr. Ruakere Hond, who is with me now. Tēnā koe ruakere, tēnā tātou I tēnei mate nui. I really want our viewers, those watching, those that are tuned in today, to understand just how hard it was for the whānau to make these decisions. Can you just walk us through the process that was followed and how the whānau came to the decision that they came to?
I wasn't a part of each stage of the process. However, I do know that they spent the first night after Huirangi passed sitting down and talking together and finding solutions to the huge difficulties they were faced with. How do they bring their loved one, their pou, to come back to his marae, to his tūranga at Taiporohenui marae? How do they do that when there are restrictions in place? There are restrictions about crossing from one region to another. And so they were able to find solutions because they reached out to police, they reached out to the authorities and said, we don't want to work against you. However, we have this huge issue before us. And there were other solutions, obviously. There were solutions such as putting huirangi aside until there is an appropriate time. That's a very difficult thing for people to do, is to put their tūpapaku to one side and wait until an appropriate time comes. The other one was to look at cremation. But again, there are difficulties around that in terms of the amount of time it would have taken to complete the cremation process. And the whānau made the decision it is far better for Huirangi to return as he is, with the urupa amongst his people, amongst his tupuna there at Te Whaiti. And I think they made the best decision with what they had available to them. And within Taranaki, we all gave our support to that decision.
I have to say, when I was watching the pictures as they were coming through this morning, I felt a sense of grief, but also anger that this great rangatira, seems to have been robbed of the opportunity to be celebrated in the way in which we normally do because of COVID-19. And I can only just imagine what the whānau, hapu and iwi are going through right now and how they're dealing with this.
Well, I think, yes, it's easy to have those emotions of anger and grief in these times of great stress. But I think if we look at this from a perspective that Huirangi would have looked at, he was very much a solutions-focused person. He was always saying, yes, we have these difficulties, but there are ways around this. And I think the whānau approached it very much as the way that Huirangi would have done this. He's saying this is an opportunity to really understand what tikanga is. And tikanga isn't something that's set in stone and is in place and it doesn't shift and move. Tikanga is something that considers all the circumstances and say what is best for the people that are involved and what is best for the people in the wider society who may learn, who may understand from what has taken place here. So while many of us were under great distress and not being able to be there, myself, I found it very difficult to stay at home knowing he was going to be arriving at that time. My first reaction was get in the car and drive down there. But I felt that this is a time to show leadership for all of us to say we need to demonstrate role model, appropriate well-being, practice of health around these things and find solutions. So I think Huirangi would be the fact that he died in this time gives us an opportunity to say this is how tikanga operates. This is how we find solutions and this is how we wānanga through the process and say there is always a solution to what we're faced with. And Huirangi would be, I believe, would be looking at this and saying, ai, koinei, me wero te tikanga, ana kia puta tēnei mea te ora ki runga I te iwi. And I think the whānau found that solution.
Tautoko. Hoi anō ruakere, kei taku rangatira, tēnā rau atu koe, I enei kōrero rangatira kua puta nei a koe I tēnei ata, e mihi tonu atu nei mātou ki a koe, me tō whakawāte I a koe anō, o tira ki ngā whānau hapu iwi anō hoki, kua tau tēnei aitua ki runga ki a rātou. Tēnā rau atu koe.
Tēnā koe me tēnei wāhanga kua tukuna ki au, o tira ki te whānau I tēnei wā. Tēnā koutou.
Well, from the popular TV program, The Casketeers, Francis Tipanel of Tipanel Funerals is joining us now to give us an update. Kia ora rā e hoa. Kei te pēhea nā te haere a nā mahi.
Well, things have developed, and since John Whanga and the Ministry of Health have brought out the updated guidelines, I'm pleased to say that things are going a little better for our people. Nevertheless, we're still not able to physically be together as a community to have tangihanga and to carry out what we know is normal in terms of the way in which we grieve. But it's a far better outcome than it was before, where we would arrive to a home or hospital and take the body away, and that was the last time the family really were able to see their loved one. So now we've got some new guidelines in place, whereas whānau from within the same bubble as the tūpapaku are allowed to come into the whare mate to a maximum of 10 people, and of course they're allowed to follow to the urupa as well. So although still disheartening for a lot of people, I think the message about the COVID-19 is really taking effect and taking place in people's hearts and minds, and they're aware of that. And so things have been, much better than they were. So grateful, Rena, for technology. Those who can't be here present, they're able to, like what we're doing now, come in on live streaming and be part of that service there. I think the most important thing during this whole isolation period, and especially during tangihanga, is the connection. Te tangata ki te tangata, a hangarau, a waha, but just not physically. And I think that makes a huge difference to the mourning process with regards to tangihanga. So I'm pleased with how things are going, and I think families are too.
Going back to the point about the work that you and your staff are doing, how difficult is it for you and your kaimahi emotionally to navigate this law that has been imposed on you and whānau? How difficult is it to be patient enough to educate whānau about this ban and some of the practices around it?
Kia ora. It is very difficult, Rena, very difficult for us to be patient. I mean, we have a term called compassion fatigue. And it's not the compassion that we're lacking, but it's the patience. And because we're humans still, and we have to break down the guidelines to explain it to the whānau. And, hei te mutunga o te rā, ko huri mātou, e prihi mana a te ture. And so it's a balancing act, and doing that, explaining it to 5 family members per day, it does take its toll on you, but we know that it's for the better of everyone.
I have watched Casketeers. I have seen you, and you are very finicky. You one of your favourite phrases is to be on point. This must be driving you mad. I mean, having to chop and change, having to go with the flow, I suppose, with these practices and these changes. It's
turned my head into a spin and a nightmare at the moment, and moving in and out of everything. I mean, it's like we're playing musical tupapaku, unfortunately, moving bodies here and there for every family to have their time. And it's not how we practice, it's not the normal run of the show. But every tupapaku needs to be set in place, lipstick needs to be applied, hair needs to be straightened before the family come in. So, we're more like hairdressers and makeup artists for the time being. But eventually we will go back to how we were before. But right now, that is what it is. And as long as our whānau are okay with everything under the circumstances, which they have been, I'm okay for now, Rena.
What about the religious aspect of the ban? I mean, you work with a lot of ministers. Have they talked to you about the consequences of this ban on them and their work?
Most definitely. That was probably on the day one of lockdown, is when the phones were going flat-tack by all the ministers, ngā pau o ngā hāhi, both Māori mai, ngā minitano roto ngā mautere as well. And so it was about adapting. And so what we do is we ring them in if they have the technology to Zoom them or Skype, but mainly on the telephone, and we put it on speakerphone, kia rangona hiai te whānau I te reo, karaki I te reo himene. So that is a big part, and a very difficult part. But once you hear a minister in a service, in a live stream service, it really sets the tone and you're at ease. We are, and so are the families, and that's all we could ever ask for.
Tēnā koe, Francis.
Tēnā.
A contemporary artist based in the Hawke's Bay is trying to keep up with popular demand of her latest creation. During lockdown, Purewa McGregor has been designing and weaving face masks, and her main customers are men.
Ko te ringa toi nei, ko Purewa McGregor.
I actually came up with the mask because it was predominantly influenced by the pandemic happening and seeing a lot of Māori out there, wearing bandanas, and I wanted something more for them to be able to, be cool, be Māori and be protected.
He whānau rarana tōna, a nā ōna mātaurana Māori kua whai wāhi e ki te hana I ēnei taona.
Absolutely a fashion accessory, but they're absolutely made to do the job. I take great pride in my mahi, and I make sure my workspace is very clean and I use organic cotton and polyester for the lining, which I sew and then hand stitch onto the mask. They have elastic around the ears, so it is a comfort fit, definitely. And I've modelled against a mannequin, so all of the masks are made to fit an average sized person. But I definitely have jigged a few of the sizes to fit the more man's face, because it has been men that have predominantly brought my masks.
He taona hira e hia whānuiti ana.
It's been really awesome, like really awesome. I've been super stoked with a range of different people really interested in wearing them. People that have brought them are Māori. A lot of them are essential workers who are wanting to be able to go to and from their workplace safely. But no, it's been awesome.
Lynette Amoroa, te ao Māori.
Maybe you can use them as placemats after lockdown. Anyway, one of the unresolved questions about COVID-19 is whether or not we should wear masks when we venture to the supermarket or pharmacy. The Ministry of Health's advice is that face masks aren't recommended for most people in the community unless they have an acute respiratory infection. At work, people who are unable to keep more than 1 metre from others should also use face masks. Māori researcher and academic Dr. Rawiri Taunui believes face masks are the way to go. Dr. David Tipene-Leach, on the other hand, believes people are better off sticking to good hygiene practices such as hand washing. Hoi anō ka nui te mihi kia kōrua I tēnei ata.
Kia ora whaia.
If I could start with you, Rawiri, why are you an advocate for face masks?
I think it's pretty simple. Face masks protect you from infection, not as much as hand washing, but they're an important auxiliary practice. Face masks, if you are infected but have not yet been tested and are unaware, then face masks protect others from you until such time as your infection is identified through testing. So that's one of the main thoughts behind wearing face masks in Asia. Another reason is we have the 1 metre social distancing rule. Recent research suggests that that distance should probably be 2 metres. And one of the concerns around, and as part of the debate about whether or not you should wear a face mask, is when you're in retail areas like supermarkets, which we all go to, not as often as we'd like, but we go to, that distance is actually difficult to maintain. People are going backwards and forwards across aisles. You bump into people going around the corner and things like that. And the 1 metre, which should be 2 metres, is compromised on a frequent basis, and it's important that we all protect each other when we're in those situations where it's difficult to maintain social distance.
David Tipene-Leach, you've heard what Rawiri has to say, but what's your view?
Well, I think it's important not to get into a he said situation, but I'm cognizant that the current advice is that we don't need to. If we have healthy people in an everyday situation who are observing social distancing in a country where we've got very low transmission, this is the reason why the Ministry of Health, along with the World Health Organization, and of course our local identities like Michelle Dickinson and Susie Wiles, are saying that normal, healthy people don't require masks.
So what should we focus on if masks aren't a priority, David?
The most important focuses for us are hand hygiene and physical distancing. Hand hygiene and physical distancing are the basis of protection, of personal protection from other people passing on respiratory infections, including COVID. And the people who should be wearing masks, and their particular types of masks, of course, are health workers and people taking care of people who are unwell, particularly those with COVID.
Rawiri Taunu, there's also an issue around disposability and hygiene around wearing face masks. What's your response to that?
Yes, I think there is, and one of the very good papers on the mask debate has been produced by a young professor. His name's Su Huang, and he's been quite explicit in saying that personal face masks are not the be-all and end-all of self-protection. They're not as good as medical face masks. But nevertheless, and one other point that he makes is that there's actually no research behind the idea that face masks don't help protect you. What he says is that they add an additional reinforcement of protection through good hygiene and those sorts of things, and that's proven to be effective by experience in Asian countries, other countries that either have face masks as mandatory or elective.
So why, Rawiri Taunu, is it particularly important for Māori to take whatever measures and precautions they can to protect themselves?
It's imperative that we do that. At the moment, we're actually doing really, really well. The daily briefing yesterday from Dr. Bloomfield, the head of the Ministry of Health, was quite positive in a number of regards. The number of new cases we've had has now fallen in over 3 consecutive days, and that's very positive. Ultimately, we want to see it continue to drop, and that would be a really good sign. But nevertheless, we need to be vigilant because COVID is highly contagious, highly infectious, and we're not out of the woods yet. So things like staying inside your bubble, isolation, good social distancing, we really need to stick with those things. And for Māori, we need to get more people who need to be tested, we need to get them into testing. We don't know what the figures are in terms of the testing rate for Māori, but I have 2 samples of figures, one from the Taranaki DHB, which is just from one testing station, which showed 28% of their tests were of Māori. Another one is a 1-week snapshot from another DHB with a 10% Māori population. 1,000 tests, only 2.7% were Māori. So we really need to be vigorous in getting anyone who needs to be tested.
David Tipene-Leach, do you also have a view on why it's important, particularly important for Māori to take whatever precautions they can?
Yeah, I think it's important for us because we know from past history that communities of deprivation, in America communities of colour, and Indigenous communities, what we have is we have people who live close together, lots of people in the households, people who carry more chronic disease, and these are communities who are much more susceptible to an infectious disease that in close circumstances can sweep through a household. So we do need to be careful, and I think that all the warnings are out there that these our main tools, as Rawiri has just said, are around social distancing, around sticking into your bubbles, around isolation, around hand hygiene. Just getting back to the question of masks, of course, and there are 2 types of masks out there. There are N95s that are designed for health workers to stop them getting the infection of COVID patients. And then there are the surgical masks that are around that are designed for surgeons to stop infecting patients. It's important to know that those particular types of face masks are not designed to protect the wearer. They are designed to protect other people.
And so we have those ones that are designed not to protect the wearer, Rawiri. They're more available to the public, those ones that don't protect the wearer.
They're available, yes.
There's all kinds of degrees of face masks. I think the case is that medical grade masks are really awesome. Homemade ones are less awesome, but at either level they assist. And yes, I agree, and that's actually one of the main reasons we should wear masks, is to protect others. So if I could just point out, the World Health Organization and Ministry of Health, they follow WHO, World Health Organization, they say things like you shouldn't wear a face mask, say, until you've got a respiratory complaint, or you're looking after. I think on Friday or Saturday, the Daily Briefing, it was stated that, you know, only wear a face mask if you're looking after a sick whānau member. Now, the key thing here
I apologise for that sound. Let's go back to you, David Tipene-Leach. One of the things I've noticed about face masks, of course, is that people are constantly touching them or pulling them down, putting them back on again, which I suppose basically makes the whole hygiene practice redundant, because if you haven't washed your hands, you'll immediately, you know, there's a case of cross-contamination happening there.
Absolutely, and I think that the best advice you can give about how to wear a mask is to look at the social media, things that Susie Wilkes does. She explains it really well about cross-contamination, about the need to wash frequently before putting it on, before taking them off, those sorts of things.
Can I just go back to my point? The point is so the World Health Organization, Ministry of Health, their guidelines are don't wear a mask until, say, you're looking after a sick whānau member or you start showing signs of a respiratory complaint. Now, the World Health Organization guidelines on masks evolved out of the 2002-2003 SARS epidemic. Now, the World Health Organization had a good point at that time because, you know, masks became ubiquitous throughout Asia during that epidemic. But one of the things that became apparent is that SARS wasn't infectious until after a person showed symptoms. And so in Western countries, what they said is masks actually are pretty useless if they're worn by the public in that situation. Now, what Asian doctors and medical experts said was, well, early in the SARS epidemic, some medical staff were treating people without masks, and a lot of them got infected, both in Asia and, for example, in Canada, who had quite a severe outbreak. And when masks were introduced, that infection halted. So it did protect the medical professionals. Now, what Asian medical experts have done is extrapolate that to the general public. If it worked for doctors and nurses, then it's a necessary precaution for the public. And particularly because in the case of COVID, the key difference being is that COVID is infectious when people don't show symptoms, so asymptomatic, and people who are about to show symptoms become highly contagious in terms of being able to spread the disease 1 or 2 days before they actually show symptoms. So in that regard, the World Health Organization and our Ministry of Health regulations are actually behind the times. Now, if I could just say this one thing, is one thing that does become apparent when you read papers from both sides of the debate. There is a sense that in the West, people just don't like taking advice from medical experts in the East, in Asia. Now, I'm not saying that's our case. In our case, we're following the World Health Organization, but it certainly seems true in the World Health Organization. And the World Health Organization head at the times of the SARS epidemic actually made quite a lot of very negative comments about Asia, Asians, and Asian medical experts. And I believe that we've inherited that a little bit.
Tēnā koe. Dr. David Tipene-Leach, Dr. Rawiri Taunui, tēnā kōrua I tēnei ata. Thank you very much for your time. Ka pai nā kōrero nā tānata mō hiohio. Senior secondary school students have been singled out as top priority to receive digital devices or hard copy packs for lessons as they face NCEA assessments. Well, with me now is Rangimaria Mahuta, Deputy Principal at Te Wharekura o Rākau Mangamanga, the tūmuaki of Hatopaora College, Dr. Nathan Matthews, and the Chief Executive of Te Kura Correspondence School, Mike Collins. Kia ora kia koutou katoa. If I can just start with you first, Rangimaria. Tēnā, kai te pōkai kaha, kai te rite rāne, te kura o Rākau Mangamanga ki te huri ki tēnei mea te ako ā ipurani, te ako tawhiti?
E ngana mātou, ki te whakarite anō i a mātou i runga i tēnei āhua, i te mea, koe nei te ara me takahi i tēnei wā. O mātou tino wanga me ki, ko te tuku i ngā taputapu rorohiko ki ngā tamariki e noho, me ngā whānau e noho rāhui ana i tēnei wā. Koea ko te tuku i ngā taputapu, koea no ko te tūhono i ngā kāinga ki te ipurangi kātahi. Koera mo te taha o te rauemi. Haunga tērā, e mihi nui ana ki te whakaata Māori, ko tai mai te kōrero, ko whakaritea e te ki te whakapāho i runga i te hōtaka reo Māori, ngā akoranga katahi, ka mihi anō ki ngā reo irirangi putanua i Aotearoa whānui, mo te whakapāho i o mātou akoranga.
Ko nā tikanga me te reo o Tainui waka, nā akorana, te tūāpapa o nā akorana a Rākau Mangamanga, ka tāia tonu wēnei āhuatana te pīkau mā te ako āipurani, mā te ako tawhiti, i roto i nā rauemi a te kāwanatana?
I roto i ngā mahi o te kāwanatanga ka ua pea. Hoino e mihi nui ana ki ngā mātanga reo huri noa i te motu i tēnei wā, ki te atakura pēwhairangi i whakarite i te kura, ngā kura mo ngā mokopuna, i runga anō i te whārangi pukamata, e mihi ana ki ngā mātanga reo, ko hemi keli tērā e whakapāho ana i o nā akoranga, e mihi anō ana ki a Praunema Indigenous tahirau, mō ngā akoranga katoa e rere ana. Mena ko te pātai, mena mātou āhei kia mau tonu ki te mita o te reo, e aua, taihua ka kite, ko te mea nui kei te rere te reo, i roto i ngā kāinga i tēnei wā. Nō reira, e mihi nui ana ki te iwi ki ngā iwi e kaha pūmau ana ki te reo i tēnei wā.
Kia ora. Kia koe, Mike Collins from Te Kura, the Correspondence School. Me ki, nā Te Kura i para te huarahi ao te aroa nei, mo te ako āipurani, mo te ako tawhiti. Hei waua pēr wēnei tika nā ako hou, mo te maha o nā mātua nā kuia koroua, e tiaki ana i warātau mopopuna. He tīwhiri, he tohu wāu, mā rātau?
He piki pātai tēnā wena. Moa a mātau ake ako ngā ka tino waia rātau ki te ako mā te ipurangi. He maha rātau, he Māori hoki, e noho e tiakina e ngā kaumātua, engari kua tino waia i tēnei wā. Nuku atu a mātau ako ngā i te tekau mārua mano, huri no o te motu, kei te ako pēnei, kua tino waia a mātou, kai ako ki te whakaako pēnei hoki. Kaue anora, kei te āwhina ake mātou ki te tuku atu i etahi o ngā Roman, o a mātou rauemi, ki te tautoko ake ki te koe tāpiringi ake ki ngā rauemi koe tukuna mā te tāhu o te mātauranga. A koe nei, kei te whakawāteangia tō mātou system kia wātea, kia whai wahi ngā kura katoa ki te enter into tō mātou learning management system mō ngā NCEA.
So Mike, because of Te Kura's experience with distance learning, you had a big part to play in developing the government's online learning package that's just been announced. Was that an easy job?
It was unusual having to work from home to do that, but I've been extremely impressed with the way that our staff have been managed to do this, to actually get together resources from their living rooms, bundle them up, have them all dispatched to the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education then sends them off to a printer, which is printing them, and then they are being dispatched out to homes. So this is it's been a mammoth task, also providing resources for the television channel that's about to be launched next week. Yeah, it hasn't been easy, Wena, but in these circumstances, you know, amazing things happen.
Nathan, if I can come to you now. Hato Paora's courses reflect the character of the school. Does the government's learning from home package support this?
Tēnā koe, yeah. Again, āpua pērā kia rākau mangamanga. The government's package will do the basic foundation stuff of delivering the NCA standard, but it won't necessarily reflect the special character that we like to feed into our mahi, all our mahi across the kura, which reflects our Māori and our Catholic special character. So whilst those resources will be of use to us, no doubt, we will still need to ensure that the way in which we deliver it or package the assessment itself will reflect the special character that our boys are used to. Otherwise, they'll be thrown into a situation where the context of the learning doesn't match what we've conditioned them to, so to speak, over the 3 or 4 years that they've been with us.
So you have an academic director that tracks student progress and can help students who may be struggling. Does online learning during lockdown still enable that?
It's actually something we're meeting about this afternoon, our senior leadership team, to ensure that we're able to do that, make sure we know which of our students might require extra monitoring or communication with the whānau, just to ensure that they're understanding what's been asked of them and they're being able to complete the mahi at the required standard, and they're not being disadvantaged by the distance. That is a key part of distance learning, obviously, and is very different for some learners. You know, that being able to ask a question and get the feedback from the teacher, ask another question just to make sure they're certain of what's been asked of them is an important part of their learning approach. So we just have to see how we best manage that via email, via Google Classroom, via online teaching learning platforms, to ensure that we're not letting anyone slip behind and thus be disadvantaged when school eventually does begin again.
There's a lot of self-responsibility called for here. How do you make students, Nathan, your students, want to learn online?
Good question. We've only had 3 or 4 days experience so far, but it's about ensuring that the messages they get at school around what an education provides for you in the future is just the same as sitting at home. We're in a little bit of a unique situation because all of our students are boarders. So usually when they go home, it's school holiday. And so school holidays has particular tikanga around what they're allowed to do at home and what they don't usually do. So the fact that this is still school time but they're at home is a real change in perspective for our boys. And so ensuring that they understand this is still school time, we still need you to log on, to do this mahi, get feedback from your students and treat it as a teaching and learning time for whatever amount of hours of the day themselves, us, their whānau, agreed to, is an important part of making this successful.
Can I come back to you, Mike? How do you make students want to learn and not go off and play games or watch Netflix?
Well, we have a philosophy of personalising every single learning program for every single student. So our focus is one student at a time, one size fits one, based on what the student's passions and their interests and their potential are, and making sure that the learning programs that they are going into are relevant. And often this is a difficulty we're confronted with now, is making sure that they have real life experiences. Well, people are confined to their homes at the moment, so that's not a very easy thing to achieve. But because we are a large organisation and we've got huge numbers of resources, we can easily personalise a program for every single student. Now, we don't achieve that with everybody. But by and large, the kids that come to us are kids that have been disengaged from learning, and we have to really work hard to make sure that the things that they are learning, they seem relevant to them, they are related to what they're interested in, and they're also related to what they're good at, not what they're bad at. So we try to encourage them to be the very best at what they enjoy and what they like and what they're good at.
Rangi Maria, can I just ask you now, hea te huarahi kai mua i a koutou, ko ngā māhita, ko ngā whānau, ko ngā tauira, hei te wiki e tū mai nei, hei te rā tuatahi, te wiki tuatahi o te kura?
Rite mātou ki e rātu ngā kura putanoa, ko kaha zui i roto i ngā wiki e toru, e rua e toru rānei, ko hori. Ko te mahi nui, ko te whakarite, e ngā nana te whakarite ngā tamariki, ngā whānau, kia waia ki tēnei āhuatanga o te Zoom. Nō reira, ko te rangi tuatahi mo te wharekura o rākau manga ka tīmata tonu, i te hauwha mai te waru mo ngā māhita ka hui. Ko rato mātou wā hui i ia ata, nō reira mātou ka hui tonu. Ka tuku i te karakia, ka tuku i ngā mihi, ka tuku i ngā pānui i runga tonu i te rorohiko. Ka mutu te rāhui, e hui ana te kura teina, me o rātou whānau, o rātou pau hāpai, ka pērā tonu te whakarite o te rā, anō nei kei mua i te aroaro o te māhita, ngā tamariki e noho ana. Hono, koto haunga te tuku i ngā mahi, hei mahi te kāinga, kia kaua kia kaua e rangiru. E nganana mātou ki te mea ki ngā mātua, ki ngā whānau, ko koutou ngā kaia, ko kei a koutou. Anei e tehi whakaaro, anei pia e tehi tūmahi, hei mahi i roto i te kāinga, mutunga mai o te rā kei a koutou, ko te mea nui ki te wharekura o rākau manga, kei te āhuru te noho o ngā tamariki he kai kei te tēpu, kei te mahana ngā whare, kei te tiakina ngā tamariki i o rātou whānau. Tuatahi tērā, tuatahi. Tuarua, kia waia haere ngā tamariki ki tēnei momo āhua i runga tonu i te rorohiko. Katoru kia tau tēnei āhua ki ngā tamariki. E whakaaro nui ana mātou i nā kā hoki, e tiro whakamua ana ki te hoki a tinana ki te kura. Engari, i nā kā hoki ki te kura, kā rere ke tonu te ao. Kua huri te ao, kua huri te ao, nō reira i wānanga tonu ana mātou i tō mātou hokinga ātinana ki te kura ki tōna āhua. Mo te tūpono kei aramai anō tēnei āhua ki a tātou, nō reira. Koira.
Rangi Māori, Mike, me koe Nathan. Tēnā koutou katoa mo nā whakamāramatana mo wā koutou kōrero. Tēnā koutou.
Kia ora.
Tapatahi, 10:30 a.m. Māori television and online. You can also find us on our Facebook page and at māoritelevision.com.